There is a strange moment that happens in a person's financial life when they realize they are not broke because they are lazy. They are broke because their money keeps leaking into things that used to make sense, used to feel normal, used to feel like part of becoming an adult, but quietly stopped being worth it. I'm Toby, and I want to start with a simple picture. Imagine two people, same job, same city, same income, same basic life. One ends the month with cash still sitting in the account, not a fortune, just breathing room. The other ends the month staring at the banking app like it personally betrayed them. And the difference is not that one person never has fun, never goes out, and lives like a monk in a dark apartment. That is where money changes. Not when you suddenly double your salary, but when you stop paying for the idea of value and start asking whether the thing actually gives you value now. So today, I want to walk through 7 things that are no longer worth your money. Not because they are evil, and not because nobody should ever buy them, but because for most people in the real world, the math has turned against them. The first thing that is no longer worth your money is buying a brand new car, mainly for the feeling of starting fresh. This one hurts people quietly, because a car does not feel like a luxury when you need it to get to work, buy groceries, or live in a place where public transportation is basically a rumor. But there is a difference between needing transportation and paying luxury pricing for depreciation with leather seats. A new car gives you that perfect smell, that clean dashboard, that little moment when you feel like your life is finally organized. But the car does not stay new. The payment stays. The insurance stays. The registration stays. The interest stays. And after a few months, the car just becomes the thing you sit in while eating fries in traffic. I knew a guy named Marcus who bought a new SUV after getting promoted. He said, "I deserve something reliable." And he did deserve reliability. But what he actually bought was a $700 monthly anchor before gas, insurance, and maintenance. A good used car, a lightly used car, or keeping a reliable car longer is not glamorous, but it keeps your future income available for future you. Cars are one of the few purchases where people accidentally lock tomorrow's freedom into yesterday's excitement. The second thing, no longer worth your money, is paying for status through credit card annual fees, premium banking packages, or financial products you barely use. This one is sneaky because it makes you feel sophisticated. But wealthy people do not become wealthy by paying fees for the costume of wealth. They pay fees when the benefits clearly return more than the cost. A premium card can be useful if you travel constantly, use the credits perfectly, understand the reward system, and pay the balance in full every month. But if you are paying an annual fee just to feel upgraded, or paying interest while collecting points, the bank is not rewarding you. You are rewarding the bank. A lot of people are paying to feel financially advanced while actually becoming financially drained. The better move is boring. No unnecessary fees, simple accounts, simple cards, simple investing, and benefits you can explain in one sentence. If a financial product needs a full sales pitch to convince you it is good for you, there is a chance it is better for the company selling it. The third thing that is no longer worth your money is the subscription pile you forgot you built. Notice, I did not say subscriptions are bad. Some subscriptions are great. A music app you use every day, a software tool that helps you earn money, a streaming service your family genuinely watches, those can make sense. The problem is that companies learned something powerful about human behavior. It is easier to charge people a small amount forever than a large amount once. $10 feels harmless. $15 feels harmless. $9.99 feels almost invisible. But invisible money is still money. People will argue about grocery prices and then keep paying for 5 apps they have not opened in 3 months. Signing up takes 14 seconds. Canceling makes you log in, remember a password, click through 3 guilt screens, and question your identity as a person. Streaming, cloud storage, fitness app, meal app, newsletter, photo editor, premium delivery, meditation app, language, app, AI tool, second AI tool, backup AI tool, and suddenly you are not buying convenience. You are renting a lifestyle in tiny monthly pieces. I like to do what I call a subscription audit every few months. Open the bank account, search for recurring charges, and ask one brutal question. Would I sign up for this again today at this price? Not, did I like this once? Not, could I maybe use it someday? Would I buy it again today? If the answer is no, cancel it. The fourth thing, no longer worth your money, is extended warranties on products that are not financially dangerous to replace. You just picked out the laptop, the headphones, the appliance, the phone, the television. You are already spending money. Your brain is already open. Then someone says, "Do you want protection?" And protection sounds responsible. Nobody wants to be the careless person who refuses protection. But if a warranty is offered aggressively, it is usually because the seller expects to make money on it. That does not mean every warranty is bad. Sometimes protection makes sense for expensive items, professional tools, or things you absolutely cannot afford to replace if they fail. But most small warranties are just fear sold at checkout. The store knows that the product probably will not break during the covered window, or if it does, the process will be annoying enough that many people will never use it. And even when you do use it, there may be exclusions, delays, deductibles, or replacements that are not as simple as the sales pitch sounded. A better system is self-insurance. Instead of buying little warranties on everything, keep a repair and replace fund. That way, if something breaks, you have cash. If it does not break, you still have cash. The fifth thing that is no longer worth your money is fast fashion and cheap trendy stuff that falls apart before your identity even finishes changing. This is not about judging people for liking clothes, but there is a trap in buying low-quality trend pieces over and over because each one feels cheap individually. A $20 shirt is not cheap if you wear it twice, hate the fit, wash it once, and then it becomes laundry guilt. A $40 pair of shoes is not cheap if your feet hurt and you replace them in 3 months. The fashion industry learned to turn insecurity into inventory, and social media made it worse because your closet starts competing with people who are being paid, sponsored, filtered, styled, and photographed in perfect lighting. The better move is not to dress badly. It is to buy fewer things that are better chosen. Know your colors, know your fit, know your actual life. A person who works from home does not need a closet built for imaginary cocktail parties. A person who walks everywhere should not keep buying uncomfortable shoes because they looked good online. One quality jacket you wear for 5 years beats 6 trendy jackets that slowly turn into clutter. The goal is to stop letting companies rent space in your self-esteem. The sixth thing no longer worth your money is storage for things you are emotionally finished with, but financially still paying to avoid deciding about. Storage units usually start as temporary solutions. You move, you downsize, you inherit things. You are between apartments. You do not have time to sort everything, so you rent a unit for a month or 2. The problem is when temporary storage becomes a monthly payment for postponed grief, postponed decisions, and postponed clutter. People will pay thousands over time to store furniture worth hundreds, boxes they never open, old electronics, decorations they forgot, and objects that represent a version of life they are no longer living. But money paid to store unused things is money that cannot build your future. Keep the photos. Keep the family pieces that truly matter. Keep the tools you use. But be honest, if you would not pay to buy those items again today, why are you paying rent for them every month? Sometimes the most profitable financial decision is not finding a higher paying investment. It is letting go of a box. The seventh thing that is no longer worth your money is convenience that pretends to save time but actually steals your margin. Delivery fees, service fees, priority fees, rides you could have walked, pre-cut food, impulse takeout, same-day shipping, last-minute purchases, and apps that make spending feel like tapping a button instead of handing over real money. Again, convenience is not evil. Sometimes it is worth every penny. If you are exhausted, sick, overwhelmed, taking care of kids, or working 2 jobs, pay for help without guilt. The problem is casual convenience, the kind you buy not because it solves a real problem, but because it removes one tiny moment of effort. Hungry? Delivery. bored, shopping app, forgot planning, rush fee, did not want to wait, premium option, did not want to think, auto-renew. Eventually, convenience stops being a tool and becomes a tax on disorganization. I saw this with a woman named Elena, who could not understand why her grocery budget looked normal, but her food spending was out of control. The answer was not groceries. It was the spaces between groceries. Coffee because she left late. Lunch because she did not pack anything. Delivery because she forgot to thaw food. Snacks because she skipped breakfast. None of it felt irresponsible in the moment. But together, those little rescue purchases were costing her hundreds every month. So the answer is not to remove all convenience. The answer is to make convenience intentional. Choose the areas where it truly improves your life, then cut the areas where it is only covering for a missing system. Behind all 7 of these things, there is one larger pattern. The most expensive purchases are often not the biggest ones. They are the ones that become normal before you evaluate them. A car payment becomes normal. A subscription becomes normal. A fee becomes normal. A storage unit becomes normal. Buying clothes you barely wear becomes normal. Ordering because you forgot to plan becomes normal. And once something becomes normal, it becomes invisible. That is dangerous because invisible spending does not ask permission anymore. It just quietly moves your future into someone else's revenue line. The question is not, can you afford it this month? Can you afford the payment? Can you afford the fee? Can you afford the monthly plan? Can you afford the upgrade? But a better question is, what does this purchase prevent? Does it prevent you from building an emergency fund? Does it prevent you from investing? Does it prevent you from leaving a job you hate? Does it prevent you from moving? Does it prevent you from sleeping better because you know you have cash? Money is not just money. Money is stored options. Every dollar you keep is a little piece of future flexibility. Every dollar you waste is not just gone. It is unavailable when life asks for proof that you can handle a surprise. And life always asks eventually. They focus on guilt. Stop buying coffee. Stop going out. Stop enjoying yourself. But guilt is a terrible financial strategy because guilt burns hot for a week and then disappears. Clarity lasts longer. When you clearly see that something is not worth your money anymore, you do not need shame to quit it. You just lose interest. You look at the new car and see the payment. You look at the annual fee and see the bank winning. You look at the subscription and realize you would not choose it again. You look at the warranty and see fear packaging. You look at the storage unit and see rent for your past. You look at the delivery app and see a convenience tax. That is not deprivation. That is financial maturity. And financial maturity is not about becoming cheap. Spend on what actually improves your life. Spend on health, skills, relationships, tools, quality, rest, experiences you will remember, and things that help you earn, grow, or live with more peace. But stop spending on things that only imitate value. Stop buying status when you need stability. Stop buying convenience when you need systems. Stop buying protection when you need savings. Stop buying trends when you need identity. Stop buying storage when you need closure. The goal is not to make your life smaller. It is to stop funding the parts of your life that do not give anything back. And here's the interesting part. When you cut the things that are no longer worth it, your life often feels better, not worse. Fewer payments means less pressure. Fewer subscriptions means fewer decisions. Fewer random purchases means less clutter. Fewer fees means less resentment. Fewer status symbols means less performance. You begin to feel something most people are quietly missing: margin. Margin is the space between your income and your obligations. Margin is the reason an emergency becomes annoying instead of devastating. Margin is the reason you can say no. Margin is the reason you can wait for a better deal, leave a bad situation, invest consistently, or sleep without calculating which bill hits before payday. So before you buy the next thing, ask yourself 3 questions. Would I buy this again? Today, if I had to pay cash? Will I still be glad I bought this 6 months from now? And does this make my life actually better? Or does it just make me feel temporarily upgraded? Those questions will not make every decision for you, but they will interrupt the automatic spending loop. Because the financial game most people are playing is not about becoming perfect, it is about becoming awake. Awake to the payment. Awake to the fee. Awake to the subscription. Awake to the little leak under the sink before the whole kitchen. Floods. You do not need to cut everything. You do not need to live without pleasure. You just need to stop letting yesterday's habits spend tomorrow's freedom. And if you do that, if you begin removing the purchases that no longer deserve a place in your life, your money starts feeling different. Not because you suddenly became rich overnight, but because for the first time in a long time, more of your income is actually staying with you. And that is where the shift begins. Not with a lottery win, not with a perfect budget, not with some dramatic sacrifice, but with the quiet decision to stop paying for things that stopped being worth it a long time ago.